Howdy, Space Rangers, Captain Phoenix here, and if you remember a few months ago, I made a defense video discussing why Lloyd in Ninjago Crystallize was not written out of character. I made that video because of the climate of the fanbase at the time, and I was getting annoyed at people still talking about Crystallize despite it being over for 3 whole years, and a sequel show that's much better is already thriving. I was especially mad because they were still whining about Lloyd despite his writing being consistent with past seasons. Of course, I'm all for different opinions and interpretations of media, but outright ignoring basic canon information was what pushed me over the edge. Anyway, I am back again today with a similar issue. Just like the Lloyd video, this video is inspired by the current climate of the fanbase, and it's based on an issue that goes even further back than Crystallize, all the way back to nearly the very beginning. Today, we are going to be talking about the mother of Lloyd, Misako Montgomery Garmadon, and the ridiculous, unjust hate she has received since 2012. So let's start at the core of the matter. Misako abandoned Lloyd at a young age because she wanted to find a way around the prophecy of him fighting the Dark Lord, who at the time she believed to be his father, Garmadon. She abandoned Lloyd to keep him and her husband safe and find a way to give them a different destiny.
Whoever knew who would be the Green Ninja, I knew it would be you. All this time, son, I've been trying to save you and your father. Leaving you was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. But faced with saving you and the world, I had no other choice.
Normally, this would have been a serviceable excuse for a children's show, right? Not for Ninjago fans, it's not. I've actually seen people suggest that Misako should have taken Lloyd, who would have been way younger than 10 at the time by the way, with her to the potentially far and dangerous lands she went to get more information about the prophecy. Think about that for a second. I can guarantee in an alternate universe where this happened, y'all would be whining and complaining about child endangerment. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't for her in that scenario. I've seen others say that since the prophecy came to pass anyway, they still hold Misako in contempt for her attempt. They say that since destiny always planned for Lloyd to win, Misako shouldn't have bothered anyway. And I'm just here left wondering, how and why? How was she supposed to know that she couldn't change Lloyd's destiny? Y'all are acting like she should have been a master of time to see the future. And this take comes off as disingenuous to me, as people tend to forget the other reason she left. And that was to protect Garmadon. Even if Lloyd was meant to win, that would mean Garmadon was doomed to die. Misako left to save both of them, which to me sounds more admirable than just staying with Lloyd and twiddling her thumbs while he and his dad killed each other. And it's not like she abandoned Lloyd again after season 2, she stays with Garmadon as he settles into his new life and clearly has a solid relationship with Lloyd. Not only that, but she has been a worthy ally to the ninja in the following seasons, such as helping Nia learn her powers, aiding Wu and Lloyd in Hands on Time, finding Wu in Sons of Garmadon, convincing Wu to go to Shintaro and get his mojo back, and finding the Keeper's Island, which ultimately helped the ninja defeat Wajira in the end. She gave him advice on how to take care of the team while Wu was out of commission in Hands of Time.
I'm no leader. All I do is make mistakes. May I tell you a secret? Master Wu makes mistakes too. A lot of them. The true measure of a leader is not whether he makes mistakes. It is whether he learns from them. Wu's mistake was going in alone. So is mine. I'm supposed to be fighting alongside my friends. Yes, even if they aren't ready to follow you yet, they will be.
Consoled him after Harumi broke his heart.
But getting your heart broken, take time to mourn, but don't let it destroy you. If you bury what's good about you beneath a hard shell, you'll turn out no better than Harumi.
Actively took care of him as the man he looked up to wreaked havoc on the city and tried to be a supporting figure in the 11-minute Wild Brain era. There is reason for Lloyd to love her, and we see that bond form over time. And it's crazy to me how much the glaze train is being run on Misako when Garmadon is just as bad, if not worse than her. He too abandoned his family, except for a selfish goal. He knew his actions would bring the final battle closer, yet still acted on them. And just like Misako, he too was a good parent for a short period of time. And no, I don't want to hear the dumb, but the venom excuse. I think it's clear looking back that Garmadon always had negative impulsive thoughts. The venom is what caused him to act on them. And to the Garmadon Glazers, if you're gonna discredit every evil thing he did before being cleansed, I am going to discredit every good thing he did too. He himself admitted that he knew what he was doing was wrong. And if you're mad I'm going out of my way to quote-unquote slander Garmadon, well, welcome to Misako's life, I guess. She didn't leave Lloyd for the lols. She left him because of Garmadon's selfish decision. She says as much in the actual show.
Leaving you was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. But faced with saving you and the world, I had no other choice.
If Garmadon never went after the weapons, Misako wouldn't have felt the need to leave Lloyd to upend the prophecy. This is straight up victim blaming if I've ever seen it. And look, I'm not one to throw the sexism card around as I believe it's cheap, but I do think if you're going to shame Misako for being a bad person / mom, you better be ready to shame Garmadon for the exact same reasons. And even with my current slanderization of Garmadon, that doesn't change the fact that Misako still adores and respects parts of him. Throughout season 2, she constantly reassures the ninja and the audience of Garmadon's love for Lloyd.
Lloyd's father is evil, but he would never do anything to put his son in harm.
But I don't remember my father any other way.
Your father loved you. It was the evil of the great devourer that corrupted him.
It is so hilarious to me how we have 4K footage of Misako straight up defending Garmadon, the ninja's biggest op at the time, yet her biggest haters still try to make her out like she is the devil herself and that she never loved Garmadon from the beginning and that she was always a two-timer and so on and so forth. Like, god damn. Again, all of this just to glaze their Garma daddy. Okay, I've explained why Misako abandoning Lloyd makes sense, but I still get clowns asking me why she didn't leave him with Wu, and at that point I know they simply just didn't watch the show. If Misako left Lloyd with Wu, whether or not she told him about the prophecy, Wu would have most likely trained Lloyd to become a ninja. He would lose nothing by doing so, which would have sped up the prophecy and make Misako's quest all the more meaningless. Misako sending Lloyd to a place where he could not become a ninja would slow the prophecy down, which is exactly what she wanted. Could she have sent him someplace else? Yes, absolutely, and I'll address this in an upcoming point, but her logic isn't unfounded. I've also seen a wave of fans constantly using Coco from the movie to bash on show Misako, and at that point you have to admit that this whole thing is silly, right? There's nothing wrong with preferring Coco over Misako, but it is high-key ridiculous that the same people who lambast the movie every chance they get will, in the same breath, turn around and worship the ground Coco walks on just to one-up show Misako because she apparently beat them up and stole their lunch money when they were kids or something. And that's another thing I want to address, the fandom's self-projection onto Misako and why I think it's borderline toxic / delusional. As I've explained in this video, a lot of people don't like Misako, and a lot of those people don't like the fact that Lloyd forgave Misako relatively quickly. Now, forgiveness and redemption are very big and somewhat touchy subjects in the cartoon community, and while it's definitely something worth digging into, I'm not the guy, and I'm especially not going to do it right now. Right now, all I want to do is give my take on the situation, and that take is that an animated character does not deserve your forgiveness. They deserve those of other fictional characters in their universe. Some may argue that it was out of character for Lloyd to forgive Misako, but let's be honest, Lloyd barely had a character. I kid, mostly. But even ignoring that joke, you, Alex, are not Lloyd. You are not in his shoes, and you are not the writers who deemed it okay for Lloyd to forgive Misako's abandonment and repair the relationship. The main crux of forgiveness is that it's not adaptable to everyone. I may forgive someone for something they did to me, but another person in my position wouldn't, and that's fine because we're all human. We all move and act at our own pace. However, what the cartoon, and more specifically Ninjago community seem to not understand, is that getting mad at a fictional character for forgiving another fictional character for something they did, while you personally wouldn't, doesn't mean it's bad writing or that the writers don't understand people. I've seen fans forgive and glaze characters who have acted or done things than Misako far easier and quicker on the daily. Heck, there is a brand spanking shining example of this in the show itself! But I guess to them it doesn't matter cause Misako's crime felt more relatable. To give a brief example of what I'm referring to, look at Zuko from Avatar.
Zuko here.
In Avatar, Zuko has hunted the main gang for the better part of a year and has committed many atrocities while doing so, such as burning down Kyoshi village and helping Azula overthrow the Earth Kingdom. From Team Avatar's point of view, he does not deserve forgiveness, and the episode he approaches them in points this out. We as the audience may think Team Avatar is being too harsh on him because we've already seen many episodes dedicated to Zuko's redemption. He's already gained our trust, but not that of the in-universe characters. He had to spend a few more episodes earning his redemption. Does this mean the in-universe characters are wrong? I'd go so far as to say no. This is literally Misako's situation in reverse. Misako doesn't have any dedicated episodes, but we also know that she hasn't done as many horrible things as Zuko has and was able to convince Lloyd to trust her by explaining herself and making herself as available for her son as possible going forward. Yes, there is something to be said about execution and audience attachment. Zuko was a main character who, as said, had many episodes to flesh out who he is, while Misako only had the back half of season 2 to work with at first. It's clear who the audience would gravitate more towards when watching both shows. However, from a purely observation level, Misako is flat out not as bad as Zuko, and the haters are, surprise surprise, being irrational. And with all of that explained as rationally as I could put it, it should at least make sense to you now why I don't take Misako haters seriously. Most of their points against the character are either sourced from season 2 only, sound misogynistic when you think about them, or carry a level of projection. I'm borderline convinced that half the Misako haters are just teenagers who are dealing with their own mommy issues, be it they are going through a rebellious phase or there are others who see themselves in Lloyd by having an abandoned or absentee mother of their own. I'm not saying this is pure fact or even being close to true, but I can't help but feel that this is one of those situations where correlation does equate to causation, at least on some level. There's nothing wrong with being attached to a fictional character, but attacking people, both fictional and non-fictional, for your self-projected image of them is where I'd raise some eyebrows. And there's no way you people can convince me that people are okay with bashing Misako and glazing Garmadon, yet the very reason she left is because of Garmadon's actions, who, fun fact, is an absentee father. Yes, he was controlled by the Venom, but there's no denying that his actions were selfish at the time. Misako left because of Garmadon. That's an indisputable fact, and if you argue otherwise, you are being disingenuous. However, as I craft and conclude this defense, I'm not going to pretend that Misako is a perfect angel or saint. As much as I understand why she had to leave Lloyd, I can't defend her leaving him at a villain's school. There were other ways to prevent him from being exposed to the ninja life without making him a straight-up criminal. I mean, just dropping him at a regular orphanage far from Ninjago would have done the trick. However, since we're on the topic, I don't see why Wu wouldn't have gone to pick him up the moment he realized Lloyd was abandoned there. Oh, but what's that? I don't seem to hear anything from the Misako haters bringing this up. Could it be that Wu is a beloved character and hating him over this would be seen as dumb by the wider community? I think so too! Anyway, while I have tried to highlight moments where she was present in Lloyd's life after reuniting with him, she still wasn't as active as she could have been, and I can't imagine being in a love triangle with his dad and uncle made things better. Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt to defend that. Everything surrounding the love triangle between Wu, Misako, and Garmadon was just plain bad. In conclusion, Season 2 was over 12 years ago. Move the frick on. If you're going to judge Misako's character purely on her appearance in that season, you are not worth engaging in a conversation with. This video wasn't made to make you like Misako or anything, but instead to end the slander that's kinda gotten out of hand. I understand from an emotional standpoint why people were not interested in her character. For most of Season 2, she was just an exposition machine, and the only unique thing audiences really took away from her was that she abandoned Lloyd. I understand that. But this vitriolic hate that's long past being funny needs to stop. She's not the devil, nor is she an angel. She's freaking human. Anyway guys, that's gonna be all from me today. Tell me, what do you think of Misako? Do you like her, do you hate her, or are you just indifferent? Did this video manage to sway you in any way, or am I just yapping as always? If you're a hater, feel free to passionately dislike this video, because I am absolutely not being nice to you, and will not be nice in the comments. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below, and as always, let's have a discussion. Thank you guys very much for watching. Be sure to like if you like, subscribe if you haven't already, hit that notification button to be part of the team, slap a cow, and with that, I'll be Captain Phoenix, and I will see you in another universe. Goodbye, my Rangers.